It has been 12 days since a destructive landslide tore through the Italian town of Niscemi, population 28,000, causing some buildings to be literally split in half, with others tumbling down a newly formed up to 22-meter or 72-foot high cliff. That cliff marked the newly formed landslide scarp, and while the main landslide motion has largely ceased, smaller occasional collapses are still occurring on or near the aforementioned cliff. As a geologist, since much of the media isn't thoroughly enough covering this story, I decided to make this update to give additional information. And we will start off with numbers. What I had previously attempted to geolocate as the landslide extent was actually far too minimal. This is the actual extent of the landslide, meaning yes, an entire 1.94 square kilometer or 0.75 square mile area moved by a minimum of several meters. This involved an estimated 350 million cubic meters of material, which is one of the largest landslides I am aware of to specifically occur in a densely populated area. And this landslide is complex and involves multiple landslides moving in distinct directions that have been offset differing amounts. Specifically, 4 landslides which I have labeled here. While one landslide block has only moved, still quite destructive, a mere 2.5 meters or 8.2 feet, the largest block by area moved an average of 33 meters or 108.3 feet. As a result, some small streams have been blocked where beforehand there was a clear path. Large cracks opened in the ground due to uneven strain and rotation of each landslide block. And I have manually counted each and every structure in the affected areas to make my own unofficial damage estimate. But before I unveil the result, there are 3 key areas to understand. The first area, which I have shaded in maroon, are the 4 landslide blocks. Everything within this region is destroyed. Then we have the area within 80 meters of a cliff that forms shaded in red. While most of these structures in this area are not destroyed, they are essentially all considered as such by the authorities due to the likelihood of future collapses eating away at the cliff edge or cracks that have formed near the cliff edge. Then we have the region between 80 and 150 meters from the cliff face shaded in orange, where a portion but not all of these structures are considered as destroyed or unlivable. However, another portion of structures in this zone may be deemed livable in the future, meaning some people may be able to return here eventually. With that in mind, we have 410 structures in the maroon and red zones, along with 4,013 meters of paved roads, which, if we include farmland, I estimate to indicate a damage total of 87.82 million euros. Then we have the orange area, and while only some of these structures are considered essentially destroyed, if they all were to be hypothetically written off, it would add another 317 buildings and 4,565 meters of paved road. Meaning the orange area could contain up to an additional 66.82 million euros in damage. While there are a few factors that have likely thrown off my estimates that need to be considered when discussing these figures, it seems that damage totals anywhere from 87.62 million to 154.64 million euros, or this figure in US dollars. Regardless, a truly catastrophic natural disaster which has resulted in the displacement of about 1,300 people. However, the good news is that despite the scale of this disaster, there were 0 fatalities, probably owing to the overall slow motion of the complex albeit largely rotational landslide and the proper evacuations which occurred. While I could be incorrect here, it nevertheless appears that the Niscemi landslide may represent the single largest landslide to strike Italy during historical times, surpassing the volume of the 1963 Vajont Dam landslide by 80 million cubic meters. I am hoping that my damage estimates, including the number of destroyed structures I thought there were, are too high rather than too low. As a final note, I would like to thank this channel's patrons on Patreon and channel members on YouTube for supporting my work.